Hey, What the Suck family. As you may have noticed, we recently switched to Anchor for our podcast hosting needs.
That's right. We were using another site that had us paying $20 a month for services such as unlimited uploading, unlimited hosting, and distribution. Anchor will distribute your podcast to Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and many more, and they do it all for free.
They make it super easy to create and start your podcast directly from their site. You can record and edit directly on the Anchor website or app directly from your phone.
It's your one-stop shop for everything you need to create your own show. They will even help you find sponsors to fund your project.
Just go to anchor.fm and get started today. There really is no easier way to do it. The seductive Yvette Vickers.
Attack of the Giant Leech.
I will suck you dry.
What? No! You suck! Oh my God!
Good evening, campers, and welcome back to What the Suck podcast. This is James.
And as always, I'm Chris.
Well,
Yeah, as always.
As always. Okay,
yeah.
good. Cool. Well, folks, tonight we have the 1959 special, The Giant Leeches.
Also known as...
Attack of the Giant Leeches. But that's what I just said.
No, you just said Giant Leeches.
I did.
Hold on. See?
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said
Well,
also
that's what
known
the
as.
that's what the page said.
Yep,
Shit.
not this advertisement, though.
All right, cool. Crawling horror, rising from the depths of hell to kill and conquer. Attack of the Giant Leeches is an independently made 1959 black and white science fiction horror film produced by Gene Corman and directed by Bernard L. Kowalski. I
Nice.
like that name, Kowalski.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Yeah, Gran Torino.
Oh, yeah.
It stars Ken Clark, Yvette Vickers, and Jan Shepard. Says Jan, but I'm going to go with Jan.
You're just giving people all kinds of different ethnicities now? Okay, James,
Of course. Jan Shepard.
Jan.
The screenplay was written by Leo Gordon, so if it sucks, we're going to find him and beat the shit out of him.
He's probably dead by now, so...
He might be.
Yeah.
The film was released by American International Pictures on a double bill with A Bucket of Blood.
A bucket of blood.
Hey, sounds like a future possibility, actually.
I think so.
Later, in some areas in 1960, Leeches played on a double bill with the Roger Corman film House of Usher, which I have heard of.
Yes.
Attack of the Giant Leeches was one of a spat of creature features produced during the 1950s in response to Cold War fears. A character in the film speculates that leeches have been mutated to giant size by atomic radiation. Of course!
Yep.
Where do you think fuck Godzilla came from?
Gojira!
From nearby Cape Canaveral. Oh, you're going to blame us now.
Yep.
The synopsis reads as such. A deprived, blood-sucking, sinister force, I love it already,
Yeah.
is terrorizing the backwoods.
Oh, backwoods, I love it. Anything in the backwoods is classic.
Fucking A, right. When flirtatious sexpot, hey, this is getting better
Oh, no, this
already.
is sounding fantastic.
Though the flirtatious sexpot Liz Walker, the seductive Yvette Vickers, is thrown into the swamp by her jealous husband, you fucking bastard, Bruno Vesota.
Not Bruno Mars? Okay.
I don't know. It's not a Bruno. No.
Not Bruno Mars. Okay.
She's taken hostage by giant leeches. Hostage?
Okay. Are they,
And
what
held captive.
What are they asking for?
I don't know. I want your blood, bitch.
I want all the B positive, all negative
right.
blood you got, motherfucker.
That's right. In small, unmarked containers.
That's right.
She is taken hostage by giant leeches and held captive in their underwater cavern of horror. I think they're overdoing it just a
I
bit.
think so. They started off strong. They're ending really fucking weak.
This is stupid shit.
Yeah.
Other town folk are soon abducted by the leeches, joining Liz in the monster's subterranean lair. The locals desperately battle the mammoth leeches in an explosive climax.
I think they're overselling it a bit.
Wait a minute. We got We got seductive Yvette Vickers,
Blood-sucking, flirtatious, sex pot,
and an explosive
and
climax.
a climax. This is a 1950s softcore
This
porn.
is not. Yeah, I'm guessing so, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it stars Ken Clark, Yvette Vickers, Jan Shepard, as we mentioned before. We also have Michael Emmett, Tyler McVeigh, Bruno Vesota, Gene Roth, Dan White, and George Cesar. It's directed by Bernard L. Kowalski, written by Leo Gordon, produced by Gene Corman, which I think I've already said all this, so if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. Executive producer Roger Corman, 1959, black and white, with a running time of a merciful 62 minutes.
Man, that's fantastic.
That's perfect.
Yeah. How did you come to find out about this movie, James?
Well, actually, when we were going through this, we come up with the idea that we are going to run through the decades because we want to give every decade a voice here.
Well, not every decade, but...
Well, not every, but the only, all the decades with sound.
Okay.
I ain't going to do no 40s horror movie because God knows those are yeesh. But
everything we do is yeesh.
we were just looking it up by year, and I saw this, and the name caught me immediately.
So you've never seen this before?
I have never seen this movie before.
All right.
Ever.
All right. Well, neither have I.
Why the fuck would I? I mean, but...
Because it's supposed to be a 1959 independent cult classic, I think.
Well, we shall see, my friend.
We shall see.
All right. Well, let's cover the rating system. As you know, we use shit emoji scales, and we have 1 through 5 ratings. And
inverted scale.
Inverted.
Yes.
Yes, inverted. So, in other words, the more shits, the worse it is.
The shittier it is.
Obviously. Obviously, yes. So, here we go. 1 out of 5 shits. You're going to keep it in your queue. These are your new classics, ones to watch over and over, and you will get endless enjoyment out of them. Hopefully.
And these are the ones we definitely recommend.
Absolutely. 2 out of 5 shits. You're going to watch these only with friends who really enjoy shitty movies, like my buddy Chris over there. We've been doing this a long time, even before we started this.
See.
They're not for everyone.
No.
Best with a group who like to riff or play drinking games. 'Cause I'm tell you what, that's an absolute kick. I love doing it. We got 3 out of 5 shits. You want to at least share these with friends. Watch them only if you have nothing better to do, and prepare to drink heavily while watching.
Right.
Trust me.
Yes, you'll need it.
4 out of 5 shits. This is where it starts to get to the slippery slope. Watch once with friends. Trust me, that will be enough. These are the ones that are so strange you may not want to see them more than once, but you at least want to share the misery with your friends.
Exactly.
And hope they don't kick your ass or leave.
Or not be your friend anymore.
Smack you over the head
steal
with
your
a beer.
girlfriend.
Bash you over the head with a beer bottle and walk the fuck out.
Take all your fucking candy.
Anyway, 5 out of 5. The Pica de la Mater, the worst of the worst. You only bring these out on special occasions, forced double dates, the in-laws are in town. When you're finished, you want to remove them from your memory with a mind-altering substance, or my absolute favorite, the blunt force trauma.
That's because you are a violent motherfucker, James.
Yes, I recommend the Negan bat with the barbed wire.
With the barbed wire. Okay.
Absolutely. Smack yourself or have one of your friends do it.
Or you can even do the Steve bat from Stranger Things, which has a bunch of nails sticking out of it.
Oh, yes. Or my favorite, dive headfirst off a balcony somewhere. Kind of takes care of the whole thing for you.
I think it's easier to find a bat than a balcony. But if you find one, go for it. Do it.
Absolutely. And I would just like to let everybody know before we get into the review here that we are going to have a guest in the studio next week. Probably the next couple of weeks. We're going to start having a third arm here on the show to add a little enhancement. We are going to get our friend Joe Brita back from Old Omble Distillery. He will be back at a future date. And what do you got, Chris?
And my wife will be joining us at one point.
God bless her soul. She's in trouble.
Probably for our next episode. She has been completely supportive of what we do, and
she puts up with our shit.
She puts up with our shit, and she thought it'd be a lot of fun to be on and be forced to watch one of these shitty movies. So
yeah, we're gonna see how she reacts, because she has a very unique style about her.
And then we got a few more in the pipeline that we're working on. Not confirmed yet, but I think the first part of the season will have quite a few guests.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm hoping so. Well, with that being said, my friend, what do you say we dive into this thing?
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Fine.
We
whatever.
do.
Fuck
Hey,
you.
you
Fuck
made me
you.
watch Zozo, bitch.
Whatever. Fuck that. I quit. I'm out of here. Bye, bitches.
In the backwoods of the Everglades, the boys had only the storekeeper's woman to talk about.
You want something, Cal?
I sure do, honey. I know how to take care of a woman like you do.
Then, out of the swamp's depths, again appears horrifying, mysterious creatures, thirsting for lovers' blood. What are these giant mutations whose attack on people sends the whole countryside on an endless search?
Whatever killed those people is still in that lake, and it's going to take more than dynamite to get it out.
And then brings them back to life to gratify their distorted desires.
Well, 50s never disappoint, do they, Chris?
No, they never do. Man, this 60 minutes felt like 60 hours.
It was bad. Well,
But that's the name of the game.
indeed it is. It opens up, of course, in the swamp of all places. Of course, you can have leeches. You got to have a swamp with a moonshining hillbilly walloping through the.
Is there any other kind of hillbilly?
No, not that I know of,
They're all
brother.
pretty much moonshining.
And it comes up and he's just, for no reason, you see him shooting at this Johnny Mop floating in the water, and you're like, what the hell? And it squeals and shit, so you're like, okay, this must be one of the leeches.
But you don't see it.
Yeah, well, then he takes a big old slug out of the jug, just like they normally do. You know, the old hillbilly, put it on your elbow and tilt it up and take a big old slug. And then you get the generic black label, plain-ass block credits.
Yep, black font,
No
white background.
No style whatsoever, like a
Nope.
blank, regular Word doc with no flair.
Yeah, we can easily recreate it on Microsoft Word.
Well, we get the crap credits, and opens up, after the crappy credits, with the hillbilly directors meeting at the local filling station. You know, so the local 609 hillbillies, you know.
This is their Whataburger where people come late at night to hang out
Yep, the one place in town where everybody can gather up and talk.
and drink some shine.
Well, you got 15 hillbillies in there, and you got one smooth-talking pimp motherfucker. I think that's the one I call Bing in this one.
No, that's not Bing.
That's not Bing?
No, it's not Bing.
Or was that the other one?
That's the
No,
other one.
that was Cal.
Yeah,
Cal the pimp.
yeah.
And I think this movie probably made in like 1931, and they released it in 59 because the film quality did not look like 1959.
Yeah, they bought like dollar store film to film this fucking thing
Something.
on.
Looked like old school kaleidoscope.
it was so
looking
fucking
shit.
dark. It was hard to make half of the shit out that was going on the
Very
screen.
dark. Very dark, and not dark in a good way. Dark as in,
No.
what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
You gotta change the scene to some fat dude saying, baby, please, baby, please.
Baby,
begging-
please. Baby,
begging,
please.
Begging some fat bitch.
He was a fat bitch.
He was a fat bitch. We're gonna call him Fat Fat William Conrad from here on out. That's what I basically adopted his name because, you know, if y'all want to look it up, go ahead and look it the fuck up because I
I
ain't
called
gonna
him
explain it.
Dom DeLuise.
Yep, there you go. That's a good one. That's a real good one. Okay, and then we notice in the background while they're arguing, of course, they're arguing and bitching. I lost my place.
Oh,
I
they're just
had to catch myself up here. I was like, where in the hell did I leave off?
they're just hanging out.
They're hanging out.
Good
in
old
this,
boys.
In this, well, I guess,
Drinking and talking.
some little store, and she's calling him a fat ass.
Who's calling him a fat ass? He didn't introduce the next character.
Oh, you're talking about what was her name? She was I just call her the blonde hoe.
Yeah, she's slutbag.
Liz, I think her name was.
Yes,
her character
Liz.
name.
Yes.
Liz the Hoe.
Liz the Hoe.
And you hear this corny ass like stripper music shit playing in the background because obviously she's being introduced as the town slut. You know, so we're like, okay, no problem. Let's move on to the next thing here. And I want to wonder one thing, Chris. In these 50s movies, why is it that every woman is overdressed for every occasion? I mean, they're out in the swamp, they're in the store, it doesn't matter where they're at, they're all dressed in this high dollar shit. I don't know why.
You never know when you're going to get discovered and be moved to old Hollywood and become a star.
We jump scenes, and that happens a lot in this movie. So it was like, what the fuck's going on constantly because it was very hard cuts, very poor editing.
Yeah, it was very
to a
very
scene
bad.
with the sheriff in the swamp with some chick, and here's a woman scream. I mean, I think he's standing next to a vehicle, and he hears some bitch scream, and he runs over there. And the blonde hoe who just told Fat William Conrad to fuck off and took off is in the swamp with some sagging bag of fuck that was, apparently been killed by something that we haven't seen.
Oh, yeah. He just show him with, like, all this, like, dirt on his face. It looked like he just fell in a pile of shit.
And he just rolls dead, all slow.
Yeah.
You see nothing. You don't have any idea. So the sheriff runs up to this woman and pulls her clothes. Lucy the hoe. Lucy the hoe? Liz the hoe.
Liz the hoe. And he's not the sheriff. He's the forest.
Oh, the forest. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Um,
the federal wildlife marshal.
Yes, there you go.
We'll call him Marshal Will and Holly.
There you go.
All right. And he pulls her close, and we notice that he shoves his six-shooter right in her fucking face.
Yeah. And
he grabs her, he pulls her close, and his gun is like 3 inches from her face, pointed straight at her. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's the stupidest thing.
They obviously did not pay attention to
If
these
he got a little too excited, he would have
days.
blew her fucking face off.
And then we get a quick but useless biological lesson after another hard scene cut.
Yeah, I mean, these edits in here are just...
Yeah.
There's no transition. It's just...
Because after he pulls her close, and all of a sudden it's, okay, are we okay here? And blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, switch. And then we're sitting in a living room somewhere where we get a useless but quick biological lesson on the exploits of the octopi. And it sends our heroic sheriff and his female companion into the swamp.
Again, not the sheriff.
To see what the fuck. No.
You keep calling him sheriff. He's not a sheriff. He's Ranger Park, the park ranger.
Ranger Danger. There you go.
Ranger Park, the park ranger.
Okay, yeah, I keep fucking that up. Sorry, y'all.
But I see why, because he wears it's black and white. You can't tell what color it is, but he wears a standard sheriff-looking shirt with a star badge on it. So he carries a gun in a holster, so he looks like the sheriff. But he's mentioned several times he's employed by the state. And
but the problem is, I think about 80% of the motherfuckers in this movie are wearing badges.
Yeah. Yeah, but he also at one point he says he's in charge of making sure the wildlife in the area is protected. So he's definitely a game and fish game warden or park ranger or some shit. He's not a sheriff though.
Yeah, well, we'll call him Bing. That's right. I call him Bing. Well, anyway, we discover that the blonde hoe is an absolute bitch.
I'm asking you for the last time, Dave Walker. You answer me, you dirty old man.
I ain't dirty, Liz, baby.
Liz, baby. Liz, honey. Can't you think of anything else to say, stupid?
Because after the scene apparently where she's rescued in the swamp by Ranger Danger and gets back to the store, she's in there calling Fat Boy Sal, which is his actual character name.
Dave, actually.
Is it Dave?
Yeah, we thought it was Sal at first. Maybe she was calling him a Sow, S-O-W.
That's possible.
And then later on we found out his name was Dave.
Yeah, because I was taking my notes. I was like, it sounded like she called him Sal, but then, yeah, Dave. But I call him Fat William Conrad because he looks just like William Conrad. Anyway, he tells him to get stepping. Just tell him to fuck
He said,
off.
Pack your bags. You better call Tyrone. Get the fuck out.
And obviously he was scared because he got the fuck out.
He had to go make a delivery.
Hey, well, he did. But what's funny is he brings this box out, and it's like leaned over, and it's full of all these loose groceries, but yet nothing's moving around. It's hilarious. I think it's obviously glued in place. Phony ass 50s props and shit. Well, we then get fucking in the swamp, as I call it.
That's exactly what it is.
Yep, Cal, the prick. I don't even know what to call this guy. But he was the one who, he was at the store after the woman told him to get stepping, and he told him, don't let her get away. Keep her here and blah, blah, blah. And all
I'll
this.
protect her. I'll take care of her for you, Dave.
That's right. And then he goes in and he goes, hey, you know what I want. And she gives him this real Lion King eye.
What do you want, Dave? What do you want, Cal?
And gives him this real fuck me look. So they take off and they end up in the swamp. Fucking. Of course, it's 50 style. Fucking. They're just laying on top of each other. And
I want to
nobody's
do
moving.
3 hours of heavy petting with the clothes on, baby.
Yep. That's why I guess they call fucking in the 50s. Just lay on top of each other and talk. But
shit.
But then we discover, yep, she's a bitch. All right. She's out there with this dude. And then here like I said, we're waiting. Still waiting. We haven't seen any leeches. It's
What
been
are we?
20 minutes.
20 minutes in, right?
20 minutes in at this point. No leeches, just adulterous antics. That's all we're seeing. Just a bunch of fucking hoes and bitches.
Yep.
And Fat William Conrad, this is a pretty good scene I liked, catches them in the swamp, had them dead to rights with his scatter gun, and this dude, which one was this? Cal?
This is Cal, yeah.
Yeah. Cal was fucking smarting off to him.
Oh, yeah. He had a smug look on his face. He had a smug smile.
Yeah, quit pointing that gun at me or I'm going to make you eat it and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I couldn't help it, Dave. It was my penis. I just fell and tripped into her vagina.
He opens up on him, shoots at his feet, kablam, forces him to start running through the damn swamp, following behind them, firing blindly just to scare them, finally backs them up into the water.
Yep.
And then the guy starts begging like a little bitch.
You think you learned enough to stay away from a woman, Cal?
Hey, anything, Dave! I'm moving out of the county. I'll do anything you say, Dave. Anything.
And then Dave is like, well, you think you learned enough of your lesson to stay away from my wife, Cal? And Cal's like, oh, yeah, I'll stay away. I won't go near her.
I won't stick my dick in her no more.
I won't touch her lady parts. And so Dave's like, okay, well, come on out then. But just as they're about to come out of the swamp,
they are abducted by two things swimming in trash bags.
Trash bag covered creature feature.
Couple of hefty bag monsters with these circular sponge looking things all glued to it. Pretty fucking sad.
They look worse than cosplayers.
Yep. So, like I said, we're about halfway through the movie, and then finally these two frog suit wearing motherfucker leeches show up.
Yep, and kidnap Ho and Cal.
And Cal and Ho. Callie Ho.
Callie Ho.
Yep. And apparently, after that scene, he is questioned by the cops. Fat William Conrad. He's questioned by the cops. He's distraught. He's, I didn't kill nobody, because the bodies were gone, so they thought, hey, this fat fuck killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's crying, I didn't kill nobody. I swear I didn't kill nobody. Well, anyway, the scene changes. And I said anyway. Deal with it, bitches. Apparently, he hangs himself.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
It's off screen.
It's off screen, of course. They don't even show his body. He's out of the movie after that.
Yeah.
Well, after after we discovered that he's hung himself and everything, we get a full exposition dump by old Bing himself, being the federal wildlife marshal.
Yeah. Ranger Park to Park Ranger Blondie.
Lets us know about everything that's going on up to this point, because you really don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit. You don't know. You don't care.
Don't know, don't care. It's pretty much over with.
Yeah.
But holy shit, we finally get to see the culprits, because they go down into the goddamn pit where they took Cal and...
Yeah, the underwater cave. They took
Cal and Ho. They took it up to this little underwater cave, and it's, like I said, a bunch of hefty bag wearing motherfuckers, but they've got arms.
Yeah.
Leeches with arms. You heard me correctly.
So far, up to this point, we're over halfway through, and it's been the only attack that these leeches have done in this movie entitled Attack of the Giant Leeches.
And what is so funny, they don't just kill them instantly. They give them hickeys.
They suck
to death.
Their necks.
But they're not dead.
No.
They capture them and they keep them down there, I guess, like a food supply until they suck them all
So they've
dry
also captured two hillbillies that went looking for the other two, and they captured them and brought them down. So they have 4 victims now in their hidey hole.
Yes. And what was funny is I'm sitting here thinking the whole time, one of them was that heavy drinking motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, that leech sucking on that neck a long time. He's like, hey, that's some good shit right here.
That leech is drunk.
Getting swacked. Yep.
Getting some moonshine up in there.
And then we have our inevitable inevitable 1950s style search party with torches and hounds. I love it.
Cliche, so cliche.
Yeah, oh yeah, and some really stupid music being played. I mean, this is like some of the worst.
Well, all the music in this movie was like stock music.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
it's
was
like that same that.
Yeah, it's all the music you would hear in all the 50s independent films because it was free and it still fit the atmosphere.
Yep, and then we get a hard cut after all the Hickians going on and done with. They get this, oh God, this god awful, like, oh, I'm stuck, and they're rolling around, whining and shit. And then we get a hard cut, and we've got more exposition from Bing, sitting in the living room, another 10, 15 minutes of dialogue talking about octopuses and bullshit. And I'm like, come on, man, move it along here. Let's see some death. Well, finally we get a good scene where they go in there and they put some dynamite in the swamp. And this is the best action so far in the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's not saying much. Not saying much at all, because the acting is god-awful. I mean, I try to give credit to the older movies, but the acting was much better in our last movie. I think we saw the, what was
Woman Eater?
The Woman Eater. And that was god-awful, but the acting wasn't.
It was both bad. They were both equally bad.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, who we fucking kidding here?
Yeah,
I'm not going to try to justify this thing.
No, don't.
And then what happens, the worst, and it's the worst acting, like I said, so far in the movie. They just gone off the rails. You got all these hillbillies. Oh, go listen there, man. I mean, it's just, you have to see it to believe it. And so, yes, when you see this, you will get what I mean. And after they set the dynamite off, which was pretty cool, kind of. I mean, it looked like somebody turned on an air tank underwater.
Yeah, it wasn't very explosive.
Pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
They roll out of the pit. You see the three hillbillies, or the two hillbillies and Cal, roll out into the water and sink. And they come up dead, but they were alive when they rolled out into the water.
They looked mostly alive, so we don't know if they died when they were coming up and they drowned, or if dynamite killed them.
It doesn't say, but eventually they do come up. They autopsy them, and they say, "Oh, their blood. They were completely drained of blood. But how were they alive?
Exsanguinated."
But the thing is, how were they fucking alive?
Because I think they were in the last throes of death at that one point when they were flopping around like fucking fish.
I suppose. Anyway, they float up dead, and I just was wondering how in the fuck they were alive in the first place.
But only the three guys. The hoe didn't go.
And after they get done with that, they have another little town meeting. Get everybody together. What are we gonna do here? You know, all the hillbillies.
Yeah.
You know, and there's moonshine jugs laying around and shit. Well, anyway, they go on this. They go on the rescue mission, and Bing and a couple other Johnny Quest looking motherfuckers embark on a rescue mission, which miraculously they have somehow figured out, oh, there must be caverns down here and all this other shit. More exposition crap because, you know, everybody in the 50s was a fucking genius. They knew everything in advance.
All right.
To this point, folks, this is a true what the suck masterpiece. Literally, the ending starts to take a serious fucking nosedive into stupidity. It's 5 minutes left, and they finally divine the cause for the giant leeches, which I believe the old bastard on the shore was talking about Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, he wondered if Cape Canaveral nearby had anything to do with it.
You never see anything scientific.
You don't see the tests.
You know, usually, you might see some chemical leaking into the water.
Or
you
an
might
A-bomb go off or something.
Something.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they just blame it on Cape Canaveral. So, fuck you, old
You know
man.
why? Because the government did it.
The government
did it.
That damn old government. They at it again. They rescue the hoe. What is that, like 13 of them?
I'm not going to count this time.
I don't shit.
I ain't count shit.
They rescue the hoe, and the one person that actually needed to die.
Yeah.
So I don't even recall her even having another line in the movie, though.
No,
I mean,
thank God.
I know they drug her sorry ass out of the water. They should have just let her die. There's a stupid climactic confrontation between Johnny Quest,
his partner Ganji, and then two leeches underwater.
Two leeches underwater with knives. They go into there with a spear gun and knives, and they finish these damn leeches off, or we've hurt them. We're going to go back down and finish them off. Well, then we transition to another scene where they've already pre-wired the entire fucking swamp with dynamite.
They put 40 sticks of dynamite down there.
40 sticks of dynamite, and kablam.
What was that?
Huge explosion, but it clears up in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It goes off and then blam.
There's no debris, no
splash, no water droplets
from
coming
underground,
down, nothing.
No.
Then you get a bunch of trash bags floating to the surface.
And then that's the end.
And that's pretty much the end. They embrace corny music keys and the end.
The end.
Literally, that is it.
Yeah.
It was a fast hour, colossal.
So like the first half hour, normally that's when they do the setup. And,
Yeah.
And they didn't do any setup. It was just General Hospital, but in the swamp. So
Exactly.
General Swamp. And then the last half hour, they tried to cram a story, a plot, the creatures.
Yep.
All in the
cause,
all in the
everything.
last half hour. Literally the last 30 minutes, they try to cram all that shit in.
So if you want to skip all the cheesy bullshit, go to about halfway.
Yeah, you really won't miss anything.
You won't, unless you enjoy corny dialogue and some bullshit and a few little half-ass setup scenes and stuff like that. But that being said, Mr. Chris, what is your take on this particular feature, sir?
Well, there were a couple things I did like. I did like the music, even though it was stock music. I do enjoy the 50s sounding sci-fi. What is it? The theremin that they use in all the 50s sci-fi movies. I enjoyed. I mean, the acting was corny. I didn't really enjoy the acting, but I did like how the last scene when they are at the very last, like the last 5 minutes or so, they film it during the day. So you finally get to see what the fuck is going on, because the other 55 minutes of the movie are filmed at night, and so it's dark as shit. You can't see any fucking thing going on.
Fucking thing.
So that last 5 minutes, you actually get to see what is all going on. You see where they're at. You get to see details and features. And so even though
it's like the director said, "Hey, fuck, we better do something."
Yeah. So
we've only got 5 minutes of film left, and the government going to get us if we don't produce something.
Right. So I like that part because you can actually see what the fuck is going on. I like the music. Other than that, I didn't really like anything else. It took too long. Now, I will say this. It's drastically different from nowadays, where nowadays movies tend to show you the creature from the get-go.
Yes.
And with the exception of like A Quiet Place or movies like that, like actual good creature feature movies, but most other creature feature movies will show you the monster from the get-go, and then they'll show it too much in the movie to the point where it loses its,
it doesn't impact you.
It doesn't have the same impact.
It doesn't. There's no shock factor anymore.
Right,
You're like,
it's not
okay,
scary.
Here comes the big slimy fucking thing again.
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
So I appreciate the fact that back then even same with the last one, they chose to only give you a few quick glimpses, and then they kind of saved the reveal for the end of the movie. I kind of like that sort of slow build up to the reveal of the creature, even if it sucks as bad as the last two did. I mean, the design was terrible, the creature creation was terrible, but they tried. They mostly tried.
Jesus.
Yeah. But even at 60 minutes, like I said,
they look like black bananas with sponges glued to them, dude.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, it was worse than cosplayers.
It was horrible.
So like even at 60 minutes, half of the movie is nothing. The other half is too much in 30 minutes to try to cram in.
Yeah, no balance.
No, and it was kind of fun to sit there and make fun of it because nothing was fucking going on.
Yeah.
And there was a lot to make fun of because it's always easy to make fun of backwoods yokels.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So while I enjoyed it and there were some things I didn't like, I can definitely see this being a movie you can make fun of quite a bit and can play drinking games too, because you can take a shot every time nothing happens, which by the time the first 30 minutes rolls around, you'll be drunk as shit because nothing happens in the first 30 minutes. So I'm going to give this a 3.
Ah,
yeah,
sweet.
3 out of 5 turds.
Middle of the road.
Middle of the road.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's not completely terrible.
Yeah.
I found it more fun than The Woman Eater. There was actually somewhat of a plot towards the last half hour.
That's fair, and there was more interaction with the creature.
There was more interaction with the creatures. They weren't just a single prop sitting in the fucking corner of the room with just arms coming out. They were actual people in trash bags moving about.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it 3.
All right.
What about you, James?
All right, fair. All right. Well, to me, the acting was hilarious.
Okay.
I love the hillbillies.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the other guys like Bing and all them, the smooth pimp types.
Yeah.
Typical 50s, perfect hair, talking like this. Man. Those guys were boring, but the hillbillies for me made the act.
Okay.
I love hillbillies in movies.
Yeah.
They crack me up. It's funny.
They're so cliche. They're so stereotypical.
The story was outlandish to the point where I liked the hell's word I'm looking for here. I like the premise.
The premise. Okay, yeah.
I don't, nuclear powered leeches. Hey, I'm fine with that. But
Yeah,
the
I'm
problem
down
is
with
they
that.
didn't explain that part.
They gave it literally one sentence at
Exactly.
the end.
So that was pretty poor. The setup for the creatures was poor.
Yeah.
The costumes were a laugher. I mean, they were absolutely laughable. I mean, like I said, I realize the time period. This is the 50s.
And it's independent.
And it's independent. I mean, they had, what, 30, back then about $12?
$12 can make a whole costume back then.
$12 to make a costume.
Yeah.
That's it. The script, the dialogue was typical 50s. It was charming to me. The old horror movies are charming to me, even when they're lousy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They just have an old feel to them.
Yeah.
They don't, they got a lot of bad parts. I mean, they don't compare. They pale in comparison to today's horror.
Right.
As like you talked about. So I am going to actually give this one a charming little 2 turd.
Nice, 2.
I'm going to go up a little bit because of the fact that I just found it funny.
Yeah.
And charming. Not a belly roller, but there were some parts to it that cracked me up. The fat William Conrad chasing through the swamp and the begging and it's corny as hell, and enough to be charming. So I'm gonna actually give it a 2 turd. I actually kind of like this one. Not great. You guys will watch it and be like, "What the hell were you thinking?" But I personally, from my perspective, found it pretty. I found it, I guess you could say sufficient.
So I guess we can both say we do recommend that they see this
Sure.
a couple times at least.
But drink.
Yeah.
This one you can play a drinking game too, actually. Every time one of the hillbillies says something stupid, or you can do the mustache game, because there's like 12, there's like 12, 13 motherfuckers on the screen at any one time. So you can play the mustache game, or you could just pick a word, a hillbilly word like y'all, or over here, or there, yonder, or some shit like that. I mean, there's things you can do.
Or you can just take a shot every time there's a really bad hard cut.
Well, you better prepare yourself then.
Yeah, you need a lot of liquor for that one.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I it's not something you'll want to watch seriously.
Yep.
It's something you want to watch for fun and drink and have fun with.
Like I said, I am not giving it 2 turds based on its horror quality. I'm giving it 2 turds based on the comical element of the hillbillies.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I personally am a country boy, and I find those guys really, I find them outlandish. Of course, these are swamp people.
Yeah.
These aren't mountain folk, but they're a kind of, they're a hillbilly offshoot.
They're like 4th cousins of the hillbilly.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. And they brought out the whiskey jugs. That's a big sell for
Gotta
me,
have that. Gotta have that.
All right. Well, that being said,
where can they find this, James?
They can find us on Facebook.
All right.
You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram under What the Suck Podcast. When you go to Instagram or Twitter, you need to put the underscores between the words, and you'll be able to find us pretty fast. We're right there up the top, and I don't believe there's any other What the Sucks out there, so we're pretty easy to find.
And I think we're more active on Instagram than the other two. So
that is correct. Our Instagram seems to be skyrocketing. I mean,
so
Facebook's always a drag. It's hard to get started.
If you want to contact us, then that would be the best place to do that.
That is true. You can also find our podcast is now based on Anchor.fm. You can find us there. You can listen to us on Spotify, CastBox, or several other platforms. If you go to the site, you'll see all the platforms we're on. So if you have a favorite platform, it's most likely you'll be able to find us there. You can also send us voice messages from the site. You click on the link and you can actually send us a voice message. You can support us if you feel like doing so. We'd appreciate that. Because we are going to start having some guests, so the farther along we get, there's always expense. So if you guys want to help us out, that would be fantastic. If not, we just appreciate you being here listening.
You can use the the voice message option to send us your review of a movie.
Absolutely.
One that we've watched or one that you've watched, and you just want to share your opinion on it. You can use that voice message option, do that, and then we will put it on our Instagram.
Now, if you watch this movie, we would love to see your actual response. Get on there, leave your own small review. Tell us if we're crazy. Tell us what you think.
If you think it's a classic and we're full of shit, tell us that too. If you think we're on drugs and we just are retarded as shit, then tell us that too.
Yeah, we're big boys. We can take it.
So you can go to anchor.fm /whatsuck, and you can find all information there. You can find all different apps we're on, or just go to your favorite app, type in What to Suck, and you'll be able to find us there. And you can find James.
If you want to find James, I have a Facebook account. I am James E. Bishop III if you find me on there. You'll see me standing next to a loitering sign on my profile picture if you're wondering. I am also on Instagram at James Bishop III. 3 I's. I mean, that's the only way I can do the 3 thing, but it's James Bishop III. I'd love to hear from you. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Let's be friends, man.
Why can't we be friends, right?
You got it.
All right, well, that's it for this episode. We look forward to talking to you guys next time. Until then, I'm Chris, and I will see you at the next Suckfest.
Yes, and I'm James, and if it ain't on what to suck, it ain't shit.
Deuces.
Peace.